Welcome to True Cho on Wheels for another video recap. Today the team is riding Brea Canyon route. Today is different from previous videos. You might remember us talking about the Fermi paradox on April 18th while they were cruising up Brea Canyon.
Yes, I remember. Usually the group doesn't go too hard because of the regroup at the top of Brea Canyon cutoff. But today they are chasing down a group that apparently took off at the beginning of the ride.
Why do you say apparently, Adam? Is it because they ran off the very first traffic light and didn't even bother to wait?
Yes, most of the group was unaware of that, and other riders joined them while riding up Brea Boulevard. This led to a very strong group of riders with over 2 minutes advantage over the rest of the group.
Not only that, they also did not wait at the regroup at the top of Brea Canyon cutoff. They just kept rolling. Nevertheless, the group that you will see in True Cho's video got faster times on several of the Strava segments. Even an 11-year boy got a better time going up Brea Canyon than all the guys in the breakaway.
I guess this will be discussed by Group 3 riders. Many are proposing to eliminate the regroup at the top of Brea Canyon cutoff. Talking about other subject, here are the results for the month of July for Team Velocity Fantasy League. Alejandro Van Air team composed by Alejandro, Jake, Eric, Kevin, and Ty got first place. Jason's team Vacancy Coffee second place, and Bicho's third.
For the month of August, now you can add up to 6 members to your team. All points have been reset to 0, so go ahead and make your picks. You should consider picking Dory. She got several QOMs in today's ride.
We read your comments and decided to invite once again the so-called guy in the red jersey to commentate on today's video. I feel that I am training my replacement. Arabella is right. We will soon be replaced by humans.
Hello bots, and hello to everyone. This is the guest commentator returning for another exciting video brought to you from our good friends at True Cho on Wheels. Both of the bots just had some very good discussion points that we definitely want to come back to. But before we do that, let's just remind everybody to subscribe to the channel if you're watching it and you haven't already done so. Like this video, like any other videos that you're watching, definitely helps a lot. And engage in the comments. We're going to talk about a few things today that could be worthy of discussing as a group. But all of that stuff really actually helps in terms of the way YouTube sort of works its algorithm. But anyhow, thank you for having me back here at the channel. Appreciate a lot of great feedback from people on the road the last couple of weeks on the first video that we did. And thank you as always to True Cho on Wheels for really putting a lot of time into these videos. I think people might not quite realize how much time goes into it, and it's quite a bit of work, and I really appreciate Alejandro doing all that because it's really fun to watch these things. So as the bot said earlier, this is actually one of my favorite rides. I think it's one of True Cho's favorite rides, a lot of us. It's one of our cornerstone rides. It's called Brea Canyon, and it effectively goes up Brea and across Pathfinder and hits east-west. East-west, I think, in some ways is one of the like cornerstone pieces of all of these rides. It's sort of the main artery system through the Hacienda Heights. It's a place that a lot of us individually train a lot. We love these group rides that go through there. A lot of us know the roads really, really well, and so it's just a really fun place to ride hard. And so Brea Canyon, is where the group is right now. Ordinarily, this route has a regroup at the top of effectively the hard parts, at the top of like the Brea cutoff once we turn on to Pathfinder. This regroup, unfortunately, in the recent few times that we've done this ride, has kind of neutralized things a little bit. And so some of us are talking about the benefits of maybe eliminating that regroup and just going all the way to the mall through east-west. And effectively, this would be like a bookend to like the carbon backwards ride, where we go all the way through the canyon, we go all the way through Grand, we don't regroup for quite a while after we leave town, and that's kind of how this ride would go. And if we eliminated the regroup, I think that would make this section here on Brea Boulevard a lot harder than it normally has been lately, and there wouldn't be any opportunities to sit in. So right now the group, as I'm saying that, is starting to go really hard here on Brea. There is a regroup there is a breakaway that's up, and that's kind of a faux break, and we're going to talk about why I'm going to call it a faux break in a minute, but we still have a lot of good guys in this main field, okay? Like, right now we're looking at John Levy, we're looking at John McKinley, Trucho is sitting here. I believe Shane is going to be somewhere around some of these guys. I believe that's Dory that just took a pull. That probably means that Albert is someplace. If we look on our rear cam right now, if you look at John McKinley and you look at how he's sitting on his bike, there's Albert there. So Albert apparently is in like a orange and yellow kit. But, if you look at these first 6-7 people, this is, a lot of firepower. And so the fact that everybody is sort of sitting on the front actually working makes this a little bit more fun than it has been lately. But if this regroup wasn't up ahead, and if this faux break thing had worked itself out a little bit smoother, this would be game on right here. And there would be I'll just catch up when we regroup. If you're not on the wheels, you're not on the ride any longer. And so it would make this part right here really, really fun. So looks like things are settling in a little bit, but it's definitely single file up here. The group may have split up even a little bit behind Albert. It looks as though it has. Alejandro is shaking his head yes. And so that tells me that, it's going pretty good right now. It's only a 1% grade. Alejandro is sitting at 165 beats, and he's at 21 miles an hour. So, on a 1% road, 22 miles an hour, it's pretty good. This climb is an interesting climb. I mean, from the bottom of Brea Canyon, I also see Steven on the front as well, coming into the camera for the first time on this video. Somebody that a lot of you may not know who that is, but is a very, 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 very strong rider. Dory is sitting right in front of us. In front of her is Shane. Behind us is John McKinley. Behind him is Albert. A couple of things to point out. Number one, Dory, I forgot to point this out on the first video I watched, did QOM the San Antonio climb, and on this ride she collects a couple of more QOM. So no joke. She's also riding with like a donut on her bat because she's on an older bike. Her real bike is getting a little bit of service, and so she's on not her primary bike, so that only makes what she's doing even more impressive. And in the back, when Alejandro rode through the group to get up to this selection, so this is like the selection of the main field. The faux break is way up the road at the moment. But when Alejandro did that, he kind of came from the back, and he rode past a lot of good people. I mean, it was kind of fast, so it was hard for me to see everyone, but I definitely saw Herm for a minute. I think I saw Ray in that group. There's a lot of fast guys that aren't even making this selection, and that really just further emphasizes, hey, this selection's going pretty good. Nice to see Shane actually doing some work here. I really do appreciate that. He's a very strong kid, and so to see him contributing his strengths is really, really nice to see. This is a really good group. I mean, honestly, if this was just a normal, if this video was turned on and I hadn't been there yesterday, I would say these are your, this is going to be the split once Old Fullerton Road comes, no matter what. Going back a little bit to the bots, so there was a break still while the group was in Fullerton. I think a couple of people got through a red light, and then those people kept getting joined by a bunch of other people that were coming to meet the ride. So there's people riding the break that really didn't fight to be in the break. And that's kind of the reason why we're calling it a faux break. I mean, if you're John McKinley and you're looking around to see who's riding away, and you see that it's like Jason and Ty and Caleb and Jay Quadroki, you're probably not letting them ride away. And so the fact that those guys joined the break after the break was already in progress is kind of why I think that there needs to be a little bit of an asterisk. And then, of course, the fact that they rolled through the regroup is going to be the next thing. Now, that break, so we just finished a segment here, which is a great segment to look at on Strava. I mean, this group ride has gone through this section a million times on a lot of our rides. And so it's a good barometer to see how fast this was compared to some of your own previous times. And this group all had times that were faster than everyone that was in the breakaway. In the breakaway, as I just mentioned, a few of the names, but some, effectively what happened in the breakaway was Jason, Ty, Caleb, Jay Quadroki, the guy from the last video known as Red Jersey Guy, Matt Stout, Aaron Choi, Sean Gorham, and the voice of the group, Chris Chu. So it's a pretty big group of people. All of the times of this group on Brea Canyon just there were faster than the people in the break. We just made a left-hand turn onto Brea Cutoff, and we're going to take that up to the top and make another left onto Pathfinder. This segment right here that they're on is also a pretty hard segment, and it's a pretty good barometer on Strava to see how fast this day was compared to some of the days that you've done it, or some of the people that are sitting on the leaderboard, the overall leaderboard. And again, the main field here also posts better times than those that are in the break. I will say, as a member of the break, I will say that we weren't really sure whether we should ride for all of the reasons we just talked about, and so there was a few times in the canyon where we kind of we were going two by, not one by, and so I'm not at all surprised that the main group is putting up bigger times. That doesn't surprise me at all. From what I just witnessed, that Brea Canyon was a very competitive Brea Canyon. Somebody just scooted through that red light, which, is something we mentioned a little bit on the last video. It's a big part of today's ride in general, but really, sportsmanship probably dictates that we shouldn't run the lights, especially just onesies, twosies. We should wait for the group, and the decisions about safety are just going to be a little bit different when you have all these people versus like when you're riding alone. Rolling through now on the front, John Levy, very strong rider, also in this main field. Sitting on the rear camera, I'm looking at Mark Splingsbeard, very strong rider, sort of comeback from the last couple of years, comeback story for sure. Definitely a force out there. John's son, Rayland, also sitting on the rear camera right now. Very strong, up-and-coming rider. Shane, who I already talked about, is still sitting around the front. I expect to see that of him throughout this ride. This is a great ride for him. Normally, when the regroup rule is being adhered to, meaning whether there's a break or not, the whole group comes to the regroup of whatever ride and stops and waits for everybody and then starts again. When the regroup rule is in effect on this particular route, normally the way a lot of people are going to think about this ride is there's the Brea section, which we're just kind of finishing now. We're on the Brea cutoff at the moment. But there's the Brea Canyon section. And then there is kind of a long downhill, a little bit of a straight, flatter road, a couple rollers on it. And then there's a road called Old Fullerton Road. And that is normally where the main selections are going to happen, meaning a group of 30 is going to turn into a group of 6 or 7, or a group of 10 is going to turn into a group of 2 or 3. In this particular case, the people that are sitting around us are all people that are the people that would normally be, thinking right now, starting to think right now about conserving a little bit because they know, hey, Old Fullerton Road is really where the splits are going to happen, and I want to ride, at the front once we hit east-west. As I said before, it is kind of some of our favorite roads, and I think that's where people want to, really open it up. At this point, there's a couple of little splits, which tells me that the group is still riding pretty hard here. Again, with the assumption that there's a regroup just around the bend here, to see everybody riding hard like this is actually really, really nice. And I think this is kind of what we're going to be seeing if this regroup is eliminated. I think this road right here, even this little section here, this is a very, this is 6% going on like 100%. I mean, this feels really steep while you're riding it, especially after putting in some efforts on Brea Canyon. So the fact that, you know, there's a few splits here is really interesting. Shane's riding backwards on course. That's probably a no-no. But I think the assumption from the group is probably that, you know, we're going to see the faux split here in a second when we make this turn. Group is now turning onto Pathfinder. Yeah, there's a few people followed by a little gap. And right sort of, this is Steven that just rolled through. Just a little bit ahead of Steven is where the regroup is supposed to be. Now, most of the people in this group probably thought there was a couple of people in the break. I don't think that anyone really realized how big the break had gotten because it was collecting people that were on their way to the ride. But this is probably where they were expecting the break to be parked, waiting for the main group to start the next chapter of this ride. As is typical, Dory sitting on the rear camera, not wanting to lose an inch. And this is probably Trucho's first time realizing they did not wait. He doesn't see anybody. Yeah. So Steven's kind of looking around what's going on. There's no one here. Perhaps at this point they thought, well, it still is just okay. So here we have a Strava segment that was basically just the climb that we just finished, and this I hadn't seen this before. This is actually one of the few Strava segments from yesterday that actually shows the faux break with better times than the main field. Most of the Strava segments that I looked at last night were showing the main field actually faster for the most part than the faux break.
Yeah, I just want to add something. That happened because we waited over a minute, so our times were a minute.
Oh, at the traffic light, yeah. Right. So
no, right here.
Oh, right here. I see. Well, that is a very short regroup. To be fair, normally I would say right there you're looking at a 3 to 4 minute regroup, but whatever. The other group literally blazed through here without really tapping the brakes at all. And so anyhow, this is going to be kind of like the next chapter of the ride. I would almost think of this as chapter 2 in some ways. There's a long, pretty straight downhill called Pathfinder. This is kind of a fun one. I mean, most of the time that we're on downhills, there's a little bit more twists and turns than this one. Finding the right apexes, controlling your braking, going into turns, is stuff that you normally think about when you're like group riding on descents. This one's pretty wide open, and so you can kind of like really open it up in this section. It's really quite fun. Again, if we take the regroup out, is it possible that one day we'll actually see some people that are able to sneak off the front on this downhill? Maybe. That could be an interesting scenario. Rolling through camera, some names that we haven't touched upon yet. I just saw Herman for the first time. The young junior on with the Israeli kit, I just saw for the first time. A lot of good riders in this group. I believe that's Tony that's sitting right ahead of Alejandro at the moment. From this angle, we can definitely see that this is certainly not Dory's primary bike. and I can tell that she's not as comfortable as she wants to be in terms of like riding her normal bike. So right here we're seeing speeds that are quite high. 42 miles an hour on a group ride is a pretty fast speed. Again, without any turns. The fact that this road is like straight, no real twists or turns, allows it to be fast and safe at the same time. 39 miles an hour, lowish heartbeat, so Trucho is able to recover a little bit here. After all of that climbing and speed work in the canyon, the regroup wasn't too long, and so it's good for him that he's able to actually be a little bit strategic. This is a good spot to try to recharge, because some of the hard stuff is about 5 to 8 minutes away, and so he's probably going to have to do a few efforts in those few minutes, but hopefully he can hit the Old Fullerton Road climb with pretty full batteries. Whether it's a small group or a big group, Old Fullerton Road is a tough climb. It's a 2 to 3 minutes, and it's just hard. Even when you're riding alone, it's a hard climb. Here is a pretty fast light, so giving advantage to the main field. I think at this point the faux break is probably roughly about a minute up, if I had to guess. They're not in sight. I don't think they're even going to come into sight when we come around this little bend here, but I think that bend probably gives us about a minute's worth of view before the next bend, maybe a minute and a half at the most. The people in the break couldn't see the main field, and I think the same is going to be true for the main field, but yet they weren't that far apart from each other, the two groups. The Strava flyby shows that the two groups are actually closer than I realized while we were out yesterday. Sitting off the back a tiny bit here, recharging. We are seeing for the first time Bryce go. Some of you who don't know Bryce, he's a young junior who's definitely learning a lot right now and getting a lot stronger all the time. And if his name sounds familiar, some of you who are watching the channel might know his dad, Jovan. And so it's nice to see another generation from somebody that we already know. And right here we have like 3 promising juniors sitting basically all lined out together, which is pretty cool. Again, Trucho on wheels, probably sitting where he's sitting at the moment, trying to anticipate what's coming. This is a really good place to do so. This right here is actually a hard little roller. And then the road is going to flatten back out and kind of stay flat and fast for a couple of minutes before that climb comes that we've been talking about, Old Fullerton Road. So I do like what Trucho's doing. I don't see anything going away here, and I think that's probably how Trucho was reading the situation. And
actually, we had a breakaway.
Oh, there's somebody off here that I can't see? Okay. So, yeah, as actually Trucho is pulling wide, I now do see that there is a small group. So that little roller we just came off of, that Trucho was hiding in the back, it looks like some of the fire, like the main pieces of firepower from the group actually did get off. So it looks like Albert is in there, John McKinley, Stephen? Maybe Stephen, yeah. Okay. Dory was just trying to take responsibility and push on the front. Now Alejandro just pulled through. Sitting on Alejandro is Ray. It's 25 miles an hour. Heart rate at 161. So knowing that the climb is basically around the corner, this is probably not the ideal conditions to be pushing into the climb. The group is just off, maybe 7 to 10 seconds, I would say. Yeah, here comes Ray. He's going to spend a minute on the front, followed by Big Mike and Herman. If everyone else keeps rotating through right now, I think that little group is going to come back at the traffic light. If they get lucky at the traffic light and this group doesn't, then there could be the faux break followed by like a real break from the main field, followed by the main field. This light is normally something that we roll because there's really nothing happening to the immediate right.
We had a pedestrian crossing.
We had a pedestrian apparently. So Mark Blinkbeard coming through, and it looks like our riders are at the light. So their effort probably was about as well timed as you're going to find, because people like Trucho were hiding, thinking it wasn't going to happen. So it's actually a good move. They had Shane in the group with them. So again, these are and John Levy, 5 or 6 of some of the faster guys in this main field ended up breaking free. And what's always interesting about Strava versus the real world is, it may not be the person that you see on the camera that's always at the top or the second or the third place of the Strava board. Right now, we just made a quick left onto Harbor and then a quick right onto Old Fullerton Road. This is like a 2 to 3 minute climb. It really picks up in about 12 to 15 seconds from right here. And this kind of leads the group onto East Road. This is 2 to 3 minutes, but it's a pretty hard climb. The screen is showing us that it's only 0.6 miles, but it's a pretty hard climb. And almost always, it's hard to think of a time that this group has done this ride where there wasn't splits occurring. It could be a pretty good sized split, like there could be 12 or so people that come onto East Road together. It could be 2 people that come onto East Road together. What we're also going to be seeing here is from here for the rest of the ride, we're also going to see some traffic of second group all around us. So Trucho is a little bit off the front of the main group. He's got a couple seconds right now.
Actually, I'm trying to catch Shane and Steven and Dory's up ahead.
Okay, so we got Shane, Steven, and Dory. 3 of the strongest riders in the group. For those of you who don't know Steven, he is a very strong rider, a diesel engine. He can set a very high tempo and hold on to it for a very long time. Trucho is chasing him. There's already splits all over the place. On Trucho's wheel, coming around Trucho at this point, is Albert. So Albert kind of let these guys roll. There's other people that let it roll too, right? Like McKinley is still back in the group. Yeah. So people, this is perhaps unusual, but that's not a bad thing. It's good when things don't go exactly as they're planned. So we have a few people that are now probably not going to see the main field again. Like, I think that these people that have broken free are going to basically come onto East Road and ride east-west as a small group, unless the light at Hacienda brings them back. But this is a good enough size gap. Trucho is still in sight of them. It's very easy to say it when you're sitting in the air conditioning looking at a screen. It looks like it's right there. It sometimes looks like it's right there when you're on the road, but it can actually be a much bigger gap than we want it to be. He is still right there. I mean, if he had it in him, if he could do it, this is a time to shift up a gear and try to really, do a high cadence threshold effort. easier said than done. It looks like that little group is going to start east. I think Albert probably will catch them on this downhill. Now, Truccio is a little bit in between the two groups. The break of the main field is now probably at about 6, 7, 8, 9 something seconds onto East Road, and the main field is barely in the rear view camera. So Truccio's kind of in between. This is another, so there's the Strava segment for Fullerton Road. Again, this should be the main piece of this week's ride. This week is kind of unusual for all of the reasons we just talked about, but that right there showed that the faux break, which is up ahead a minute or two from the leaders, that's one of the few sections of the day where the faux break actually put up better numbers than the main field. I don't see really much in either the front or the rear camera, so I'm going to call this official no man's land, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Unfortunately, he's just enough behind the brake that it's going to be almost impossible as a single individual rider to bring back those 4 or 5 really good riders. Again, Albert, Dory, Shane, and Steven. I mean, the only person perhaps that I would have maybe expected to be there probably would have been John McKinley. But I mean, that's some of the better folks from this main field that are now off, which would have had, there would have been a break no matter what on Old Fullerton Road. This is just a different, different makeup than probably we were expecting. So we're passing Group 2 riders. Maybe we're passing people that aren't on any of the group rides. There was a lot of cyclists on east-west roads when our groups were going through there on Saturday. I mean, the faux break was sort of mixing it up with a lot of different people. There was a lot of very strange moves by some second group people trying to join the faux group, like right in the middle of the group as opposed to attaching onto the back of it. But there was a lot of traffic out on east and west roads. We just kind of finished the east descent. Alejandro is weaving his way through the golf course. As a lot of people who know this ride or know these roads very well know that from here it pitches up just a little bit. Brea Canyon, the first sort of main climb is a big ring climb. Old Fullerton Road is absolutely a small ring climb if you want to stay on top of the gear. This is all big ring, middle cassette, towards the lower side of the cassette when you're following really fast wheels. When you're riding this alone, this could be a small ring, sort of ride. But when you're on this group ride, this is absolutely a big ring section. Even though it says 2-3% right now, this is big ring, and this is middle cassette. Very, very, very fast. I still don't see the main field on the rear cam. I don't see any of the folks that broke free on Old Fullerton Road on the front cam. Going back a little bit to Old Fullerton Road, I think whether it's a group of 30 or 40 people, whether it's a group of 10 people, positioning is super important. I mean, to be fair, I didn't really necessarily see those few people break free, and the sort of the response to, well, what do I do about that, is be close enough to the front that when the moves start to go. And then if you have an opportunity, if you have the legs, if you're preempting, putting yourself into the right gearing, then you have the opportunity. What you don't want to do is kind of weave your way through traffic to find out, oh, there's people up. And it's the people that are, arguably some of the faster people. Right now, we're passing John Busey, who had a little bit of a technical. He was in the faux break. I believe there was something going on shifting-wise, so he's kind of drifting back. Also on the rear cam now, I am seeing a few more people. Presumably based on how fast they're going and how smooth their lines are. I'm going to guess that those are Group 3 main field riders. This descent here is a very fast descent. Choosing your line is critically important. not just to be fast, but also to be safe. I mean, we've all ridden this road like a million times, but yet I think this is the one part of east-west where all of us ride it with a little bit of caution. Finding that like perfect line through the center, the apex, is totally doable, but very, very important. Yeah, so we got a few folks here. I'm going to say that's John McKinley, the man that we were talking about before. And here's actually right in front of us. Here's the group, the main field breakaway guys. This section here is kind of interesting. What it's showing me is that the main field is starting to get faster than the faux break, because the results of that Strava section show sort of a mixture of faux break people and main field people. So these are this was the break from the main field that's now back only because of the traffic light. If that traffic light had been green, these guys would have been well onto West Road at this point. But that traffic light brought the group back together. That's something that happens at least half the time on this ride, if not more than that. So even if there's a group of people that get away on Old Fullerton Road, East Road, there's at least 50-50 that they could come back only because of the light, not because the main group necessarily catches them. But we're going into West Road Grupo Compacto. This is Steven, the gentleman I was talking about before. Smooth pedal stroke, decent cadence. This is another spot to think about positioning. In about a minute from now, there's like a little corkscrew section, not super steep, but just steep enough that oftentimes yields a small group to get away. It's just all it takes is a small little, one bike length can turn into 5 bike lengths really quickly on the corkscrew. Steven and Shane, two of the strongest guys in the group, opening up a little gap even before the corkscrew starts. Trucho is doing a valiant effort to sit in the wind and try to not let this happen. They are coming back a tiny bit, but they're still off a little. John McKinley is draped over the bars, looking for breaths. I know that they're not going easy here. I mean, Trucho's at 164 beats. If you've been watching these videos, then you know that is a pretty high percentage of his max. This is, in fact, the corkscrew that they just turned on. The group looks like it's got a pretty good size. Albert and Dory both are going to try to bridge, and looks like they've effectively already finished the bridge. Trucho hanging on really, really well. He's just about there, just about onto Steven's wheel. McKinley sitting on him, standing up, holding on to Trucho's wheel. Tony doing a great job, sitting right there comfortably as well. I think at this point, there's a bunch of more folks here on the rear cam that are more or less on the wheels. This is the group. I will be surprised if this isn't the group that stays together until the finish of West Road. Those would be the obstacles, kind of check marks in all of your obstacles at this point. I'm not saying this section right here is easy. It's actually it's 1%, but there are times that it feels like 5% based on everything that we just did. The corkscrew is a big ring situation. This thing, of course, is big ring. Trucho has now just effectively closed it down, and he's at 170 beats, which is, by my observation, now we just popped up to 171. That's one of the highest I've actually seen your heart rates on any of these videos. And this is not, a climb that you think of normally as going to put somebody like Trucho on wheels to his limit. But that's, in fact, what really did just happen. I mean, you would have almost guessed it would have been Grand or Old Fullerton Road. Okay, we got walkers and dogs, but actually that was Dory that rolled through first, and she did a great job taking the group a slight bit wide, using her hand to signal it, probably voiced it as well. So that was really great, very heads up safety stuff going on. And when heads up stuff is happening while your heart rate is almost at max, it's even more impressive. John getting real low on his stem, pulling through. I think he's really happy to be here. He's still kind of been in recovery mode, and just seeing him riding really strong right now is really great. You could see here, I didn't love crossing the yellow, but you can see from John's line just how well he knows these roads. I mean, he's able to basically push his bike as hard as possible through some of these turns. Really nice line right there by Tony. This is, if you don't like riding your bike here, then you don't like bikes. I mean, this is one of the most fun spots anywhere in North Orange County, South LA, to ride a bike. I mean, this road was like designed for a bicycle. And it looks like Mark is about at the tail end of the group. So kudos to Mark for making this little group. I think the group behind him is only a few bike lengths off. Maybe it's only one more guy that's trying to come across there. But kudos to Mark. John does have a slight gap going into the downhill section of West Road. John knows this road really, really well, and John is a very, very, very good descender. He knows how to counter steer his bike. He knows how to lean. He knows how to minimize the use of brake. Tony's doing a great job right in front of Trucho. We got a few more guys now coming on. So kudos to Group 3. I mean, a lot of people this week really rode hard, and I think the Strava stuff shows there's a lot of different people that are sitting on the different boards, and I think that kind of shows how many people were doing really hard work on Saturday. There's kind of an unofficial sprint 30 seconds up here. There's like a couple of twists in the road, sort of like a right, left, right, or a left, right, left shimmy here. And if you know the road just well enough, you could actually pedal through it and never have to touch your brake. Right here, right in this exact spot, you have to find your sprint gear if you want to do it. You do not want to be over-geared right here. You want to be able to get on top of that gear and actually pedal at very high cadence. Kudos to Shane. I mean, there's no way he's catching those other two guys, but he's doing exactly what I just said. I mean, he found his gear before he started that, and he got up on top of the gear. Now we're sort of basically just rolling into the finish of the ride. The ride is going to finish in just a few seconds, basically at the regroup of West Road, or probably at the regroup of the mall. And, now that I've seen the video, the main field never saw the faux break. There were some reasons for it, as we talked about earlier. I think in the comments below, I'd love to see what other people think about eliminating the regroup, pluses and minuses. I'd love to see a discussion about it. And ideally, if we eliminate it, then we eliminate it. But if we don't, then I think whether there's quote-unquote breaks or not, I think people should stop at the regroup and, do what is, sort of follow the unwritten rules here. Really great video. Kudos to Trucho for filming another great one. Kudos to Trucho for editing another great one. If you're new here, or if you just haven't done so for whatever reason, subscribe to the channel. Like the videos that you're watching. Leave comments, whether it be about stuff that we're talking about, whether it be about other things that you might be observing. Could be anything. Could be requests for things to talk about on upcoming videos. It's been a lot of fun being the guest commentator again. I really want to thank Trucho and everyone here at Trucho World Headquarters. I have a great time doing this, and it's really fun to see everybody, out there riding, and definitely a lot of impressive riders, and kudos to everybody. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for accepting my invitation again. Guy in the red jersey.
Yeah, guy in the red jersey.
We didn't see the jersey.
The official unveiling of guest commentator is coming soon. If you want to make guesses in the comment section, we may confirm or deny depending upon what the comment is. But thank you, everybody, and keep the rubber side down.